let's get started. So, Johannes, first, maybe just introduce yourself and your background, and say a few words about, Schumacher, the size, what you do, a little bit about the business.
Yeah. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Johannes. I'm with Schumacher since 10 years now. So, I'm responsible person for the digital printing at Schumacher. Some of you maybe know Schumacher Packaging. We are family-owned Germany business with plants nearly all over Europe. We got 16 production plants at the moment. We have 7 sales offices and 7 service centers, and also have own paper mill. And the last 5-6 years has a very strong long life journey, and I think it will be for the future, the next 25, 35 years and generations, it will be a great journey. We have had hard discussions with Wolfgang the last 5 years, and for us it was very important to always find a solution for us, for our customers, and also for the machine builders. So it was not just like we want to have these things, it was also like, could we find a solution together?
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, Johannes and his team work very closely with Wolfgang, who you introduced to you earlier, on actually the design of the SPC 130 Flexline Automatic. So a lot of the automation features that you see on our Flexline Automatic come from Johannes and his team. And Johannes, you didn't only buy one Flexline Automatic, you've now got a second as well. So tell us a little bit about how the operations are running and why you bought a second, and what you think of the future of digital post-print.
Yeah, I start with why we bought 2 machines. It was when we talked to Wolfgang at the beginning. We sit down and said, okay, we want to buy a machine. And then after 1.5 hours, we said, okay, maybe let's fix up 3 machines. So just everyone was like, oh, that's a little bit big for us. And we were like, okay, but that make things easier for us, and that make things easier to develop for Durst. And there's another point, the customers. We have some market customers, like brand market customers in the food industry, and they always want to have a backup. So if we're going to install a digital machine and then we switch their orders to digital, the first question is if the machine broke down, or you have to do maintenance or something like that, or you're going to install a pre-coating or a new dryer, where's the backup? So we decided to build up 2 machines for the backup, and to build up 2 machines also to push the development of digital printing.
Mm-hmm. Johannes, if you look at, when you're choosing a digital vendor, right? You're a highly automated productive plant. What were the things that you were really looking for in the solution that you needed, right? That you wanted to make sure that the vendor was very, very strong. And what were the most important dimensions for you from a digital press?
To be flexible, to have open discussions, was very important for us, because of course we bought a machine, but we not bought a machine, we built up a project together. So that means you have to be a strong relationship, because it is development costs, and it also has development costs for us. So it's not like we're going to buy the machine and then we sell it and we earn money from the first day. You can't do this in digital. It's like Christoph Gamper said before, it takes 5 to 7 years to build up a machine like this. So that was why we thought about a vendor who listened to us, and where we can also decide and discuss things together. So when we bought the machine, I think we changed the dryer, we changed the inks, we changed the way of the ink. So we started at the beginning, we started with yellow at first color, and now we are at black at the first color.
Yeah.
And also a most important point for us was everything has to be digital, like the pre-coating. Some other companies will still do it with the unelectrical.
Tell us why that's important to you, having, because we mentioned digital priming earlier, and we're going to go through that this afternoon, but why is it important to you that it is digital?
It is a technical part. You print on a corrugated board, and if you push the corrugated board, you need a stronger board, a stronger fluid. And if you do it digital without contact, you print without contact, but then you bring varnish or pre-coating on it, and then you damage the board.
Yeah, so you can print on thinner substrates and get the same quality, right? So you can lower overall cost.
And that's what we wanted to do, and that's what we said. Why we said it isn't important when the pre-coating will be ready, but it has to be digital.
Yes.
So, and if you have a project like this, you have it for years, and then it doesn't matter if it's next year or if it's in 5 years. Important is that it's ready and you have the solution and you listen together.
And tell us, Johannes, you at the moment, I mean, tell us a little bit about how you run the press, your shift patterns, how many days a week you're running, the capacities you run. I mean, obviously I don't want you to give proprietary information, but tell us, how you use the press.
Actually, from the first day when we started with a field test machine, we printed 3 shifts because we already were coming from digital. It's not like we have to switch from offset or from flexo. We have already production running 24/7, 5 days, 5.5, 6 days per week. So we still do it 24/7. Not really. It's not Sunday. It's just a half production day at the moment. And
so 24/6 then, right?
24/6, and depends on the paper situation at the moment. I think we all have the same problems. We all have the paper situation at the moment. We have too many orders, but too less paper. So we would be happy to run the machine 7 days per week, 365 days per year, but I think it's not possible. So we're running 3 shifts, 5 days. So in Ebersdorf, I think we do like 20 million square meters per year with the machine the last year. And the second one in Greven, we do not 3 shifts, we're just doing 2 shifts. Has a lot of points. As we saw at the beginning, the main reason is it's too expensive, which is not true because, funny story, I remember when we sit down for the first moment and then we discuss every point, it was first 2 hours. So everyone was like, okay, who is this going to? and someone said the average of the ink would be 7 milliliters per square meter with a Durst machine. So I was falling down off the chair and said, no way, because then we can't solve anything. And they say, yeah, we think it should be 7. And I said, we have to bring it down to 4.5 milliliters per square meter. And then it's not too expensive anymore. It's that price you need for the customer. So the important thing is not just to talk about the cost of the ink, it's also to talk about what could we do, what could our customers do to bring the price in the right direction.
Yeah, so tell us, because that's really, really interesting, isn't it, Johannes? So, I mean, everybody knows, right, inkjet, you know, because I've seen people fall off chairs when I've told them the cost of the ink, right? I mean, ink is expensive in inkjet relative to, obviously, flexo inks. But, Johannes and his team have done an absolutely amazing job of not only optimizing files using things like GCR to actually put less ink onto the paper, but also redesigning work on behalf of their customers to really, to really show the customer that they can have the same brand effect with, using less ink and being able to do it cost effectively. So, Johannes, maybe say a few words about that and what you've done and how that journey is taking you to where you are.
If you buy a digital printing machine today, it's not like it has been the last 50 years when you bought a machine for flex or for offset. You install the machine and then you get it running, and you know all the parameters and you know all the technical things. You have to really bring up a big project who has to come to the customer, and the customer means not the sales or buyer team from the customer. It means you have to talk to the marketing.
Right.
So, and then you have to train your sales team really hard, because what I've done the last years was just like selling packagings. And now they have to learn how digital printing is working and what they have to change to be very good in selling digital. So they have to talk to the marketing, they have to talk to the buyer of the customers, and they also have to learn what is possible and what is not possible, or probably possible but very expensive. So, and then if it's very expensive, it makes no sense for you and it makes no sense for your customer. So that is what you have to do when you build up a machine like this. You always have to build up a project. It's not just install and run. And so what we've done, like we saw here, we talked to all our customers if we can change the images to get less inks on it. So this is a study actually we've done in 2014 when we started with digital. When you have full coverage images Makes no sense to print it in digital. If you just have one spot color and then just maybe one Coca-Cola thing on it, makes no sense to print it in digital. But if you bring Coca-Cola, that they don't use the big red anymore, if they do pictures on it, then it will be cheaper and it will be better to produce, and you can switch much more often, of course, in digital. Then it makes sense. But to bring the customers to the road to do so and to think so has been a long journey the last 5 years, and we're not at the end. I think we even at the beginning at the moment.
So tell us, what are some of the things that you're now doing for your customers with digital that you couldn't do before in Flexo? What are some of the value propositions that you have for them? I think of some of the regionalization that you do, versioning.
Yeah, we can do versioning. We can do like event. I think, yeah, we will have a slide. You can see like today is the soccer European Cup. So we're gonna split these things. We could split from countries. So like if you we have some customers like this one. Helfer actually is our own marketing brand. It's not a real company. It's just a marketing brand. But you can see they have the same product in France, in Italy, in Spain, but they have different packaging because in France people know this cleaner, buy this cleaner when it's blue. But in Switzerland, the packaging has to be red, and then they buy it. It's the same cleaner is inside, but it comes from the packaging.
So that's really about knowing what sells, talking to the brand marketeers, establishing the value, right? Yes, establishing the value and selling the value.
So switch off the orders, like before we have had hundreds of thousands square meters, running meters with the same order. So now we can switch for France, for Italy. So like smaller orders, faster orders, of course, and we also can do VDB codes on it, which is more and more important. In Germany, I think the last 5 years we've printed 150 million square meters in digital with VDB codes.
Wow, so you're printing direct onto the box, you're not doing a labeling process in addition.
Which is making the process for the customer easy, but they don't have to label anymore. And I'm pretty sure that will come much more and more in the next couple of months or 1.5 years, also to the other parts of Europe. In Germany, it is very common also in the Netherlands and Belgium, but Eastern Europe will be next year.
So you see this being demanded by customers as a prerequisite for them, that they want to have the sequential numbering actually printed.
And it is pushed by them because it makes the process faster and easier for them. So they earn money, because the process is easier. So they be able to spend like 5, 6, 7 cents more for the packaging because the money is already earned on other process steps. We, as Schumacher Group, we believe that digital will be the future. So that means you can switch all your Flexo jobs to a Durst machine or to a post-print machine. That's not possible. That's why we installed the PHS machine. It's not just switch it. We think it will be the future. We won't have Flexo anymore in like 15 years. And we won't have offset in 20 years anymore. We believe everything will be digital because the customer asks for it. There's a lot of reasons. They don't have to stack anymore. We just can order.
But tell us about just in time and digital, Johannes, because I know you have fast turnaround times in the plant sometimes, right? So how does digital help you with that process?
Just in time means if you order today, you will get delivered in 6 weeks, of course, because of the situation with the paper and everything. But if you order today and then you say, I finally order 50,000 pieces of this, and then I will bring you the print design in 3 weeks, so like 1 day or 2 days before the production, that's fine for us. But you can't do this in Flexo because you have to order the clichés, you have to check everything. But in digital, you can say, okay, I ordered a job now and I bring you the designs in a couple of
So if you've got the capacity ordered, right, so the paper, the substrates, your turnaround time in plant is extremely fast.
You can have it the next day.
Yeah,
probably.
Okay. Very good.
A couple of online printers we have in Germany, the big ones. You see the advertising at every soccer game. Some of them also produce the packagings by us, and that means you have to deliver the next 24 or 36 hours.
Now, if you think about, you're somebody that's been doing this for a number of years. You've got tremendous experience of doing this. How have you had to change your operations? I mean, in terms of personality, you referred to sales, talking to marketing more was a key one. What about in-house, right? I mean, I know you're a pre-press expert. I know as a converter in the corrugated space, you have a lot of expertise in that area. Where have you had to invest as a business to be really good at digital, and what sort of competencies have you had to develop internally?
The first answer is where you don't have to invest. So that's why we said digital has to be, the whole process has to be digital. So you just push the button as an operator.
So you have all your expertises in pre-press.
Yes.
Right.
So in the production, we want to save as much money as we could. Mm-hmm. So that means we have to invest before. So in pre-press, we decided in 2016, we sit down together with family Schumacher, and we decided in 10 years, the pre-press stage will be exactly the same people than it is 2016. So we have been 14 people. I mean, we have 16 plants running. We have been 14 people in pre-press, including the offset part and everything. Today we are 12 people, but we're doing like 25 up to 35 million square meters per year today. And in 2016, we've done like 5 million square meters.
Wow. So you have really
invested a lot
in automation, right?
In automation, it begins from our own systems, PDE systems. We have to connect them with the pre-press, with the machines, with everything. And then we have to automate the pre-press, of course, because you have much more jobs than you've had the last years now with digital. And if you switch in the future, and like I said before, I believe in 10, 12, or 15 years, we won't have Flexo anymore. And then we will still be the same people in pre-press. So that is a tough challenge. And you have to learn a lot of things, and you have to invest money there as well. So that's why I said you have to make a whole project on it. Mm-hmm. And in the end, it will be cheaper. The whole process will be cheaper. But at the beginning, you don't just have to look at the machine, you have to check everything.
So right? you look at the whole process costs, from the touch points that you have in your plant, the work in progress that you have in the plant, the waste that you have in the plant, and you think that the digital gives a more optimized process over time.
Of course it gives, and also the quality print inspection. And we don't want to check every sheet anymore in the end. So
quality is an interesting one, isn't it? Right? Because you talk about quality, and we talk about quality all the time. And of course, quality is seeing, and you're going to see it on the press when we go down. But how? I mean, did you have to do any education to your customers on the differences that they get with digital print? How did you?
We have to do sometimes, but I mean, that's also different for every customer of you, because it depends on which paper you use. You can use a very good paper from Sappi, which it's a graphic paper. You can print best quality ever in digital, but it's very expensive. And if you do a really good job in pre-press, and if you do a really good job with the main machine operators and profiling and workflow and everything, then you can also have a really good result on a very cheap paper. And then it's necessary that we have a print inspection, and it's necessary that we talk to the customers and say, okay, let's check if this quality is good enough for you. I mean, you've got the last 50 years, you got the Flexor or offset, and now you get this. Is this okay or not? And then we can decide if we have to use more ink, different paper, something like that, pre-coating for uncoated.
Right, so you have the tools in pre-press, you have the tools with media, you have the print inspection, and you're saying to the customer, you can have the added value of sequential numbering, of versioning, on this paper at this subject, and you're giving choices to the customer.
Yes,
right? But you're having a conversation around more capability and cost, right? Is really, really interesting. And head maintenance is very important, obviously, because heads are an expensive part of the technology. And that Schumacher has been very disciplined about the cleaning cycles. You're also instrumental in us developing the automated cleaning cycle.
Yes, I think we use the maintenance we have had in the machine today. We use 2.5 years now in the line 1, and to be honest, we haven't had any problems. So 2.5 years with 20 million square or 50 million square meters per year means that's a lot of time.
And Johannes, it might be.
Sorry, but it depends how much you print. If you just print one shift, you will always have problems with your heads, and you will always have problems. You always have to clean in the morning for, like, to be honest, a half hour to get every slots back. But if you print 24 hours, you don't have to clean anything. You just, the print heads are running. So the best thing for your machine is build them up and even produce for 2 days in a week, but 2 days, 24 hours, and then let the machine stay down for 3 days, another 3 days or something like that. But don't print every day 8-hour shifts, and because then you have a lot of uptime to get the machine running.
Good. Well, are there any more questions before I wrap up? You have Alberto, go ahead.
Can you please tell us some advantages of the water-based ink? We know that in digital there are different inks, and you are using water-based. Are your customers happy?
Yes, because the only difference maybe is the gloss. And if you print on full-coated or half-coated material, you get the same gloss. So our customers are, in Germany, it's very important that you have water-based inks. So UV inks is an absolutely no-go for our brand customers. With pre-coating, we will see today, the quality is also good enough, and the gloss is good enough, and you don't have to smell the smell you have from the UV. And this is, I remember when...
and you don't do a lot of food business either, do you, Johannes?
We do. We actually do. We do it, but at the moment we do it in offset.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try to switch them the next couple of
because of course
months,
then food certification and water-based inks is a prerequisite, but certainly will be in the future. Good. Well, Johannes, this was a great. I really, you've been very generous with your time. You've been very open. I hope everybody has enjoyed the session. I'd like to give a round of applause to Hannes and say their heartfelt thanks for coming in and supporting us in the open house. Thank you, Johannes.